If you asked most artists if they support artistic freedom, they would most likely agree without hesitation. If you press the topic though and asked if this includes things they don't like, most of them would refuse to answer, or simply deflect. Why are some types of artistic expression praised and supported, while others are brutally mocked and shut down? Does it have to do with making some people uncomfortable? Does it have something to do with making the wrong people uncomfortable? Welcome everyone! Today I invite you for a quick dive into the transformation of Mel Gibson, or rather the transformation of the public's view of Mel Gibson into a laughingstock. So sit back, relax, and let's have a cup of absurdity. In 2004, Mel Gibson was already an accomplished actor and director, having starred in many critically acclaimed and popular movies, including Mad Max, the Lethal Weapon series, and the iconic Braveheart. That year, however, he released his most controversial work to date, Passion of the Christ, a movie about the death of Jesus Christ, which he himself directed. I mean Mel Gibson, not Jesus Christ, obviously. And as much as he was praised for it, he was bashed for it. The movie saw incredible numbers at the theaters. It tied with The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, and for 20 years remained the highest-grossing R-rated movie in the US. On the other hand, it was branded as anti-Semitic, and the brutal scenes of violence were called exaggerated by some of the more sensitive viewers who probably didn't know much about history either.
Of course it was too much. Yes, that was the whole point of it. It was the mystery of suffering. And, which is the sacrificial lamb, you know. I mean, if it was easy, it isn't worth much. So, and believe me, I did a lot of research on it. And according to all the research, it was way worse than that, anything I showed you. So, you know, it was worthwhile.
Anyway, it caused a storm in the media, and everyone was talking about it. I think that's something that every artist dreams of. And what is an artist? According to Mel Gibson, it's someone who breaks conventions, crosses borders, and breaks boundaries without caring if it makes people uncomfortable or not. And it's true that his entire career is heavily marked by this sentiment, as it certainly was for Bjorn the Viking. Who the hell, you may ask, was Bjorn the Viking? Well, according to Mel, it was his alter ego.
Yeah, he's way back in the dark ages somewhere. I mean, the sins of the father visited on. I know that something is wrong there, but Bjorn is he's an axe murderer. He gets off a boat and chops up convents, you know.
So Bjorn's still there?
Bjorn's there, but I've done a lot of damage to him. Not only that, but I've managed to subdue him, dig a shallow grave in my imagination, insert him in the grave, and every now and then you just got to go out the backyard, get a few shovels full of dirt, throw it on top and tamp it down just to keep... Because I tell you, I don't want to be Bjorn again.
Or as Jordan Peterson would say, his quote-unquote beast, his dark side. In an interview, Mel described him as a medieval raider who suffers for the sins of his father and brutally cuts down people, though immediately after he claimed to have him subdued and under control. The bad news? It seems that alcohol made the Viking a bit giddy. In 2006, he was arrested for driving under influence. I mean Mel Gibson, not Bjorn the Viking, obviously, and made anti-Semitic comments during the incident, including claims that the Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world. This led to widespread condemnation, and of course, Mel recanted his words, saying that those were absurd, drunken statements. But the damage was done, so much so that even as recently as 2020, the media were questioning how is it possible that he still has a career. His 2011 domestic violence conviction didn't help his image either, and further tarnished his reputation. All this, coupled with him being a conservative Catholic and producing movies that were not exactly to the liking of industry, caused the media, and by extension some people, to voice their opinion on the director of the controversial movie. Some of the most influential people called for a boycott of Mel, like Ariel Emanuel, the agent of Leonardo DiCaprio. With the silent permission and even encouragement of the entertainment industry, the great mocking of Mel Gibson has begun.
See, you just get a whole new perspective on everything. It's very settling for the mind. It's a long way down.
Now we're ready to be on the set now.
Okay, I'll be right there, Albert.
Oh, God almighty.
Jeez, I hope nobody saw that.
Let us begin with jokes. You see, at the time, Mel Gibson jokes were all the rage, both in private and on stage. Let me present a few of the simple ones for you. Joke number 1. Why did Mel Gibson's wife file for divorce? Because he's no longer the religious freak anti-Semitic she fell in love with. Joke number 2. Why is Mel Gibson blaming the Jews for his failed marriage? Because thousands of Jewish attorneys volunteered to represent his wife. Yeah, it was this sort of jokes. Funny at the time, I guess, but still kinda cringe. Making fun of Mel Gibson became such a popular entertainment option, and that some businesses tried to make a quick buck on it, like New York City's Oak Bar at the Plaza Hotel, which created a new cocktail for this very reason. They published the following recipe and advised to stay away from the phone after mixing it up. 1 ounce Van Gogh vodka. Van Gogh was famously bipolar. Next, 1 ounce Bols VO Genever gin, 3/4 ounce of vermouth, 3 ounces of club soda, splash of cocktail onion juice, and best served on the rocks, like Gibson's career. Delightful. I guess I can see why they advised against using a phone after drinking it. The breath could possibly be smelled on the other side. Hopefully it didn't have many fans. But do you know what does have a lot of fans? A Chinese souvenir stall. No, I'm joking. It's South Park. Yes, the famous 4th episode from season 8 of the show, named The Passion of a Jew. The portrayal of Mel Gibson in this episode is an unhinged and completely over-the-top picture that had, truth be told, I really have no idea why he was presented in this way.
Mel Gibson can. Mel Gibson.
The episode came out right after the premiere of Gibson's The Passion of Christ, and all of the greatest blunders in his life were yet to come. So why show him as a complete lunatic? Through this, as with many things, South Park was simply ahead of its time, as bashing Mel didn't become really cool until a few years later. Let us recap his portrayal real quick. In the episode, Stan and Kenny butt heads with Mel Gibson after they visit his place demanding refunds for The Passion of the Christ. Since they hated the movie, they figured they were entitled to it. Gibson dismisses them, claiming that hating his movie makes them Jesus haters. When they don't back down, the guy loses it, strips to his tighty-whities, straps himself to a torture device, and dares them to torture him for the cash. The boys nope out and just demand their money back, so Gibson launches into a deranged rant about funding his new fire and brimstone church and plays a banjo. Son calls him, quote, freaking Daffy, end quote. It was a mistake. Gibson whips out a gun from somewhere in his underwear and chases them through his mansion like a coked-up raccoon, blasting shots into the air. The boys take $18 from his wallet, while he is distracted by his own mirror reflection. When they try to escape, they find Mel doing the Daffy Duck impression. Escaping on a bus, they think they had won. Until Gibson, his face painted in Braveheart cosplay, runs their ride with a truck, and then plows into South Park's theater. Crawling from the wreckage, he exposes himself as a raving lunatic by squeezing his nipples, smearing his own feces on a door, and presenting himself on all fours. And then he sharps on Cartman and is probably hauled off to clown jail. The end. As I said, unhinged, over the top, but strangely honest. Well, why would I say that? Let me be clear, it's not an honest representation of the real Mel Gibson, seriously not even close, but it's an honest representation of the mental image of Mel Gibson that many people had after the premiere of The Passion. and especially those who were feigning indignation at the movie, calling it anti-Semitic and boasting their own moral superiority. What a treat it must have been for them. Gibson's criticism of Hollywood's culture and his refusal to bend to its norms have deepened his isolation. Over the years, he also warned about the waning morality and the debauchery of the superstars and producers. He warned about the dangerous narration that, despite their vices, they believe themselves morally superior. He called out the industry's shift towards political correctness as a threat to creative freedom, clashing with figures like De Niro, with Gibson becoming a symbol for traditional values, resisting Hollywood's currently diminishing progressive wave, sparking a newfound flame within him. Currently, he's working with Donald Trump's administration, as well as producing the sequel to his most successful and controversial piece yet, The Passion of Christ: Resurrection. Today, as more and more of the things Mel once said are proven to be reality, the scandals, the secrets, and the corruption of the industry is more noticeable than ever. Hollywood having a problem with Mel, but not with, for example, Weinstein, Diddy, or Bill Cosby, can tell a lot more than most people care to hear. Hollywood's criticism of Mel Gibson is multifaceted, rooted in his personal history of misconduct, his family history, and resistance to industry norms. While he retains supporters and continues to work, his legacy remains controversial, reflecting broader debates about accountability, redemption, and ideological divides in entertainment. Speaking your mind while at the top seems to be an easy way to put a target on your own back, and at least for some time, Mel Gibson got a good feel of that. Now, with the counterculture gaining traction, will he be one of the people who change the entire entertainment industry? We can only wait and see. And with that, let us end this short material of mine. Thank you all very much for watching, let me know what you think in the comments, stay safe and absurd, and see you in the next video.